Hello, can you hear me? This is the test. Test, test, test. And done. This is a little better. You alright? Okay. How's it going? I think my mic is working. It's been almost 3 minutes since I set up. Let's start this. AI art. Who is Plato? Most importantly, do you like cucumbers? I certainly do. Used for pickles and salads. They're delicious. Also, here's some photos that I stole from AI artists. Just kidding. This video won't be about AI art stealing from artists or anything. I have something equally as pressing to discuss as this topic emerges from this novel technology. So I'm sorry that I'm not going to talk about AI art. I know that it's a hot topic, but honestly, no one has talked about AI art embodying Platonic forms, and I just think it really ties together language as a philosophical concept. So I really wanted to talk about a computer science side to this whole ordeal of AI art. Like, I wanted to give more philosophical computer science perspective on AI art, not just from a humanitarian side. So I know that's definitely a very valid issue. So there are some questions that come up when we see these images, and one of them not being, why did you make an anime cucumber girl? A good try. Let's jump into the third episode of Constructive Criticism. AI art as Platonic forms. Here are some questions. 1. Why are these images important? To artists? To engineers? To philosophers? 2. Why do they feel familiar? What instinctual connection do we share with each image? 3. How do the images appear as the idea that they were instructed? And 4. What are Platonic forms, and why do they relate to AI art? I will address a portion of the questions today and have you consider others for me. First, let's walk through some background of the new technology. And I'm going to preface this first section as a computer science and philosophy connection, as a way to conceptualize the physical concept of an idea. That being said, stable diffusion. So yeah, this image is going to be, it's a lot. Just like take it all in, okay? Stable diffusion is a machine learning algorithm that breaks down images and condenses them into semantic, text, and representation maps. This allows the program to completely parameterize every notable aspect of an image that a human observer can identify. Let's just notice, emphasize, and continue from now, from the part of the diagram that says on the right, that says representations. Stable diffusion was developed by Runway, CompViz, and most notably Stability AI, and released in 2022 while it's continuing to be developed to this day. Stable diffusion has over 860 million parameters in UNet and 123 million parameters in the text encoder. This costs a lot to train, 600 large ones in fact. That's $600,000. This model is able to be run on machines that have 4 gigabytes minimum VRAM, which is affordable to the typical computer geek. The customability, or more officially called personalization, of stable diffusion models allow for the ability of end users to employ their will to modify and change in 3 described avenues. Oh, I bet you can hear the fire engine going in the background. Well, anyway, that's going on. Someone's in trouble. There's some ambulance. Okay, let's get back to the video. Hopefully they're doing okay. Where was I? Will to modify and change. In 3 described avenues, described in Wikipedia's section of end-user fine-tuning. 1. Embedding of an idea into current stable diffusion models to bias them into creating similar photos based on that embedding. I don't know if you were online last year, but there was a really viral image called Gumbo Slice of an overweight black man wearing only a camo hat and camo shorts, sharing a pizza on a muddy outcrop in a swamp at night with an alligator. It's so ridiculous that it became famous overnight. And here's the issue. That's not the original photo. Or is it? I'm not sure, honestly. My reasoning is this. Around the same time, I swear, there was another image that I saw of this one. It's a photo where this guy is actually kicking the alligator. I couldn't find the original, so you just have to trust me with this one, okay? I love this photo because it's absolutely hilarious. Like, we live, we love, we lie. Since the beginning of the original meme, there have been many iterations of the idea of a fat black man fighting or being in an area with an alligator alongside the potential for pizza to be involved. Here's Gumbo Con, aka that guy at Comic Con with the gator. Here's, I don't know if it's named this one, Gumbo Shinto, aka some Japanese style image with the guy fighting the gators with his foot, seeming to also turn into a hand on the left side. There's no pizza in this also, just a note. And here's Gumbo Fashion, aka Fashion Week, in this style. See how different it is compared to the others? Where even is the alligator in this one? It's not in this one. I won't go on, because I could go on all day. There are so many types of gumbo, etc. images. It's so funny, honestly. Second, creating hypernetworks to also embed into currently trained models in order to induce monumental changes in style. This is seen in many AI models that you can prompt to give hyper-realistic, surreal, and all the classical styles of art. It's used to mimic the ability and style of an artist, despite the model's original training data lacking the necessary information that the hypernetwork provides. These are pretty cool, and I think these are gonna revolutionize the freedom of the end user at the end of the day. Think about what I mentioned earlier. This model is able to be run on machines that have 4 gigabytes minimum of VRAM. Zach. Imagine education courses that walk you through training your own hypernetwork to apply to larger models that are either cloud-based or home-based. You can build more of your own personalization into these models without impacting the efficiencies that others may need. So everyone gets to use their own little hypernetwork. Anyway, break from image generation for a second. Information, knowledge, science, biology, engineering, blueprints, etc. as a prediction goal of artificial intelligence that can be queried by language. Are you following? Basically, it's taking all of the ideas that we've collected through science and querying that through speaking to it with natural language, just like how I'm talking to you right now. This opens up the possibilities of hypernetworks to seriously impact the fields of education. It's just a different way of learning. Education AIs that truly know the majority of human knowledge can then be given a hypernetwork or have a hypernetwork attached to them to give bias in any which way towards it. Bias towards knowing a relationship with a student, or bias towards specific goals that can be determined by states or individuals are both possibilities of this technology. Great power, knowledge, brings great responsibility. The responsibility to use knowledge wisely. The responsibility to teach the next generation our best understanding of truth with all of the messy history attached with knowing that truth. The responsibility to broaden the scope of understanding. This is what the goal should be. The goal should not to be to usurp the means for power or indoctrination, because that always reflexively, negatively impacts the actor back. Hypernetworks actually work to guide any algorithm towards a specific goal if made correctly and put into the right sockets. The third is similar to the first. It's DreamBooth by Google Research and Boston University. The technology itself is proprietary, and it's most likely a combination of the first two ideas, if I'm being honest. Here are two examples I'll just paste up here. The first one combines the embedding of a text idea and image pair to get similar results. And the second one is an example of the application of hypernetworks to draw the second dog in different famous styles. Both of these dogs are adorable, just so you know. Like, that's out of the question. Like, you shouldn't even question that. Stable diffusion, when given a pre-trained data set of a given topic, will perform well to enhance that initial set with any later creation. But if you ask the model to be specific about certain aspects of the image, then the algorithm can begin to provide diminishing returns. Stable diffusion as a technology is useful for edge detection and understanding images to text. I'm forever grateful for the work that Patrick Esser of Runway and Robin Rumbach of Comfys initially did to get this algorithm off the ground, along with Ulthar AI and Lyon's datasets that Stable Diffusion was based on. Now, there's a lot of controversy about the datasets, and I'm not going to address that here. You can look at the Wikipedia page and read that for yourself. It's all available. The controversy is literally there. I didn't want to talk about this in this video. Here are some questions that I'm going to ask. What are the goals of these image generators? Are the generators made to convey true information based on the prompt? Are the generators made to give accurate anatomical photos of a dog or alligator? Are the generators meant to simply be a digital artist? Most importantly, what kind of truth, if anything, are these algorithms capturing? Okay, I'll restate that last part. Most importantly, what kind of truth, if any, are these algorithms capturing? Finally, we get to the next section. Platonic Forms. Finally. Here's a pic of me with Plato, with the bust of Plato at Trinity College in Dublin when I went on study abroad. This is a cool photo. So I'll restate my original questions because I know that talking about stable diffusion is definitely just like, you have been trying to understand that, and honestly, I don't blame you if you forgot what I initially asked you. 1, why are these images important? To artists? To engineers? To philosophers? 2, why do they feel familiar? What instinctual connection do we share with each image? 3, how do these images appear as the idea that was instructed? 4, what are Platonic forms? And why do they relate to AI art? Answering the 4th question first for some reason, here's a quote from Plato on the Forms, a YouTube video by the School of Life that has a cute animation describing Plato's opinion on this concept. You should watch it and then come back to this video. It's pretty short, honestly. My neighbor's coming back, got more light. Just waving to him. Here's this quote. It's the guide you need that shows you how to do something well yourself. If you've got possession of the form, you can be guided towards a true goal. Plato Forms. Howdy, neighbor. These forms are the almost undiscerning things that, for example, make a table a table. Is it just whatever has 4 legs? What about what makes a human? Diogenes critiques Plato's idea of a man, a featherless biped, by plucking a chicken and showing it to everyone, saying, "Behold, a man." Apparently, this made the Academy change the idea to add "with broad flat nails" to the form. This greatly memed upon example is evident of Platonic forms, a framework that aims to continually guide us to an understanding of any specific idea. So yeah, this is just a meme that describes Plato, Platonic forms. So how do Platonic forms relate to AI art? Bringing back the stable diffusion diagram, we can see it clear as day. There's connections between, it's actually a semantic map of text, representations, and images that connects all of them through a multidimensional web. Connecting language semantics with text, representations, and images allow the connection between the visual, lingual, and ideal. Dumbed down, that means whatever we see in an image can be translated to knowledge about that image. If you describe the Pope well enough, then you get something like this. A viral photo of Pope Francis in a puffy jumper as an example. Bruh. The raindrops scared me. How does this image so innately represent that idea? How seemingly purely Christian this man is. This image and all the others are all grasping out one form or another. Whether the form is cucumber, gumbo slice, or Pope dog, these are all forms dictated by the training data set. You can verify the accuracy of the form yourself. If you watched Plato on Forms video like I suggested, then you'd heard that these forms are foggy at first. Then you can understand the AI models as paths to lead you closer to forms that humans have discovered. You can ask AI art models to describe visually vast amounts of human knowledge. But you'll soon realize how foggy these forms are. The variations are vast, but the ideas stay the same. I think that these images feel really familiar, and they can itch the primordial understanding that we feel if and only if they represent some form that we interact with. So, for instance, mass-produced items. You see them having more of their own identity as a brand or as a, say for instance, a Dasani water bottle. Like, you know what that looks like if you've ever had Dasani. Or if you grew up in America, you know what a Dasani water bottle looks like compared to a Gatorade water bottle or a Powerade water bottle or any of the brands. They all make unique forms. They're all water bottles, but they vary in size. But if you select for brand, there's only a few iconic ones for each brand. Celebrity art is often more attention grabbing, honestly. We know that Drake AI art photos exude some sort of familiarity that would not exist with a random person like Gumbo Slice. However, we do learn a great deal of the alligator form from the Gumbo Slice example. Here's a really funny picture. I love this photo ever since I found it initially when I saw it. Here, let me just quote. Okay. Drake being the type of guy to start floating by his nose when he smells a freshly baked pie. Like, that's just like some like post said that one time, and I imagined exactly this photo. And I felt so validated to see that AI photo come up in my feed, and it felt good. It felt like I accurately captured the form in my head before I even saw someone else's idea of it. Which means that if someone else is having the same visual idea that I am, that the application of that form into photo was accurately done by the person who initially spoke the sentence. They captured that form within words. And if I can imagine it, and someone else can imagine it, and then an AI art device can imagine it as well, who knows what's possible for the next 100 years of knowledge. I mean, this isn't like attaining perfection. This is mainly just finding ways to develop means to predict new types of knowledge. AI art is a priori. Like, any prediction is a priori. We're just guessing after seeing everything that we've already saw. How do you think you get a priori knowledge, the before experience knowledge? You have to think about it. But a posteriori knowledge exists before a priori. You have to experience to gain knowledge, and then to gain more knowledge without experiencing, you have to think about it. And that's exactly what AI art is doing. That's exactly what large language models are doing. Ones that can combine human knowledge and condense it and practice on creating new ones that we haven't seen before, that can be validated by human observers. This is what AI art does. Where was I? Oh yeah, Platonic Forms. This video is getting a bit dense, so I'm going to start to wrap it up. Let's answer the last question, and then I'll leave you with a cucumber quote. Huh? Why are these images important? To artists, to engineers, to philosophers? These images are evident of a great novel technology to combine language, meaning, and images to better communicate ideas. As the information revolution continues, this medium of communication will become more and more valuable, mainly to develop new types of knowledge, to develop ideas that we wouldn't have thought of if we didn't have these tools. AI will become sentient one day. But just like humans are tools, AI are tools. It is important that we treat things respectfully. We treat people with the dignity of existing and giving them what they need to live, which is not what is happening now. And I also agree that AI, any kind of postbiotic philosopher, anyone with a functioning brain that includes synthetic brains should have rights, and rights that we can provide as society if they work for, to build society. Who doesn't build society in the majority? Majority people are going to build society because, it's better to do that than to kill other people. I'm getting off track. Why is this important to artists? Artists can further their skills capturing forms by using these tools to perhaps root out pesky form variations that are hidden among initial viewing. Artists are also subject to crimes against their property being used for public consumption. Engineers need to be vigilant of the use of these models so that they are used for good and not for usurping power or oppression. Engineers must also maintain a constant open arms approach to diversifying their training sets to better encompass the forms that their technology inherently identifies. Philosophers love to discuss the ethics surrounding this technology as it consolidates power like an autocrat visiting a democratically elected government in Latin America. Philosophers should also become more technologically versed. The old guard needs to teach the new guard to protect wisdom because the new guard knows how to use the internet better and better every day. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, then I'm forever grateful for your determination to listen to all of my words. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow me on my socials, comment your opinion below, and have a wonderful day. Don't forget, don't kill yourself. It's not worth it. I love you too much. Don't kill yourself. It's not worth it. Don't kill yourself. You don't deserve what other people tell you. You deserve what you do. I'm going to repeat that. You don't deserve what other people tell you. You deserve what you do. All right, quote time. Cucumber fruits come in various shapes and sizes, depending on the specific variety. The most common cucumber shape is elongated and cylindrical, resembling the popular English or slicing cucumbers found in grocery stores. These cucumbers typically grow up to a length of 6 to 8 inches. Oh, wow. But they can reach up to 12 inches or more under optimal growing conditions. Oh, yeah. Okay, that's it. If you stuck around for this long, wow, you're special. You're a special kind of person. Buy me a Ko-fi. All right.